This golden mask is the most famous of all the artifacts of ancient Egypt, a true icon of the Pharaonic civilization. It will be the last artifact to be transported to the new museum. The king is portrayed with the Nemes, white and blue striped line headdress. A uraeus, holy cobra, and a vulture adorn his forehead and a false beard made from gold and glass paste. The king's eyes are reproduced with quartz and obsidian. On his back, magical inscriptions are engraved taken from chapter 151b of the Book of the Dead. The Mask of Tutankhamun is a gold funerary mask of the 18th dynasty ancient Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, reigned 1334–1325 BC. After being buried for over 3,000 years, it was excavated by Howard Carter in 1925 from tomb KV62 in the Valley of the Kings. It has been displayed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo from 1925 to present. The death mask is one of the best-known works of art in the world and a prominent symbol of ancient Egypt. Tutankhamun's burial chamber was found at the Theban necropolis in the Valley of the Kings in 1922 and opened in 1923. It would be another 2 years before the excavation team, led by the English archaeologist Howard Carter, was able to open the heavy sarcophagus containing Tutankhamun's mummy. On 28 October 1925, they opened the innermost of 3 coffins to reveal the gold mask, seen for the first time in approximately 3,250 years. Carter wrote in his diary, "The pins removed, the lid was raised. The penultimate scene was disclosed. A very neatly wrapped mummy of the young king, with golden mask of sad but tranquil expression, symbolizing Osiris. The mask bears that god's attributes, but the likeness is that of Tut. Ankh. Amen, placid and beautiful, with the same features as we find upon his statues and coffins. The mask has fallen slightly back, thus its gaze is straight up to the heavens. The mask is 54 centimeters 21 in tall, 39.3 centimeters 15.5 in wide and 49 centimeters 19 in deep. It is fashioned from 2 layers of high-carat gold, varying from 1.53 mm (0.059–0.118 in thickness, and weighing 10.23 kg (22.6 pounds). X-ray crystallography conducted in 2007 revealed that the mask is primarily made of copper alloyed 23-karat gold to facilitate the cold working used to shape the mask. The surface of the mask is covered in a very thin layer, approximately 30 nanometers, of 2 different alloys of gold, a lighter 18.4-karat shade for the face and neck, and 22.5-karat gold for the rest of the mask. The face represents the pharaoh's standard image, and the same image was found by excavators elsewhere in the tomb, in particular in the guardian statues. He wears a Nemes head cloth, topped by the royal insignia of a cobra wadjet and vulture neckbet, symbolizing Tutankhamun's rule of both Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt respectively. The ears are pierced to hold earrings, a feature that appears to have been reserved for queens and children in almost all surviving ancient Egyptian works of art. The Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, a former Egyptian minister of antiquities, told Al-Monitor that the theory about the ear piercing is unfounded because all the 18th dynasty's rulers wore earrings during their period of rule. The mask is inlaid with colored glass and gemstones, including lapis lazuli, the eye surrounds and eyebrows quartz, the eyes obsidian, the pupils carnelian, amazonite, turquoise, and faience. In December 1925, the mask was removed from the tomb, placed in a crate and transported 635 kilometers, 395 miles, to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where it remained on public display until 2019, when it was moved to the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza, where it's on public display today. Protective spell is inscribed with Egyptian hieroglyphs on the back and shoulders in 10 vertical and 2 horizontal lines. The spell first appeared on masks in the Middle Kingdom, 500 years before Tutankhamun, and was used in chapter 151 of the Book of the Dead. The right eye is the night bark of the sun god, the left eye is the day bark. Thy eyebrows are those of the Ennead of the gods. Thy forehead is that of Anubis, the nape of thy neck is that of Horus, thy locks of hair are those of Ptah Sokar. Thou art in front of the Osiris Tutankhamun. He sees thanks to thee, thou guidest him to the goodly ways, thou smittest for him the confederates of Seth so that he may overthrow thine enemies before the Ennead of the gods in the great castle of the prince, which is in Heliopolis, the Osiris, the king of Upper Egypt Nebkepper or Tutankhamun's throne named deceased, given life by Re. Osiris was the Egyptian god of the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians believed that kings preserved in the likeness of Osiris would rule the kingdom of the dead. It never totally replaced the older cult of the sun, in which dead kings were thought to be reanimated as the sun god Re, whose body was made of gold and lapis lazuli. This confluence of old and new beliefs resulted in a mixture of emblems inside Tutankhamun's sarcophagus and tomb. Bead necklace. Although it is usually removed when the mask is on display, it has a triple string necklace of gold and blue faience disc beads with lotus flower terminals and uraeus clasps. Details of the golden mask of young King Tutankhamun. You can feel that he's still alive and looking at you. Covering the head of the wrapped mummy in its coffin and activated by a magical spell. Number 151 from the Book of the Dead, the mask ensured more protection for the king's body. The exact portrayal of the king's facial features achieved here made it possible for his soul to recognize him and return to his mummified body, thus ensuring his resurrection. The head is covered by the royal headdress and the forehead bears the emblems of kingship and protection. The vulture and uraeus are cobra. The gold sheets used in this wonderful mask are joined together by heating and hammering. It was found inside the tomb of Tutankhamun's KV62. New Kingdom, 18 Dynasty. Tomb of King Tutankhamun, Valley of the Kings, Thebes, Luxor. Found by Howard Carter in 1922. This mask was found on the head of the mummy of King Tutankhamun, and the mummy was inside a coffin in the shape of King Tutankhamun. The reason for putting the mask on the head of King Tutankhamun is protection. There is a magical formula engraved with the hieroglyphic line on the mask, the purpose of which was to protect the head of the deceased and chest. The mask clarifies how young the king is, because the King Tutankhamun took over the rule when he was 9 and died at the age of 19, and represented by the royal aristocrat, and the aristocrat is a robe indicating royalty, and above the forehead of the king is the uterus, and is the god who elected his guardian of the south and the symbol of the city of Cap, and there is also next to it the cobra watchet, the goddess Puto, the protector of the north, and their finding together indicates the country to the north and south, and the mask weighs about 11 kilograms of pure gold. The gold mask of Tutankhamun. This mask was found on the head of the king in his golden coffin for protection. Inside the mask was written a magic formula in hieroglyphics to protect the head and shoulders. This mask shows the king as a young man, because in fact, he was a boy of 9 years old when he began to rule Egypt and died at about 19, so the mask represents him as a young man, wearing the Nemes headdress, the false beard, the sign of royalty, and a wide beautifully colored collar. On his brow is the vulture, the emblem of Upper Egypt, the Lady of Heracon-Polis, and the cobra of Lower Egypt, the emblem of Buto. The two goddesses together are sign of the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. The mask weighs 11 kilograms solid gold.